Welcome back, people. This is the big one. Update 46 for the Lazy Sorc, and guess what? We are adding the Nightblade. Subclassing is free, and your build just got stronger. So if you want to see more of this, stay tuned. It's coming right up. Now, stats. This is what confuses people. The stat screen is not set in stone. It doesn't mean match those numbers and you'll have exactly the same build. There are hidden variables in this game, especially set procs, that do not show. We'll go over this briefly. As little detail as possible, basically. 28.9k health, 32.8k stamina, decent recovery, and 55.3% crit chance. Decent weapon and spell damage that will go up, and good resistances across the board. That is where we're going to go with that. Do not try and get different sets and match those stats. You will have a very different outcome. You have to make sure you get the build correct. But for those that are interested, 64 points into stamina, Thief Munda Stone. We're using flat food, which is health and stamina. So we've got 5.5k max health almost, and almost 5k max stamina. So 5.3 and then 4.9. But the interesting part, the part you want to see, obviously is the gear. Have we changed anything? Yes, we have actually. So, Sergeant's Lightning Staff, flame damage, glyph, or poison. If you've got flame bonuses in your group, i.e. from a DK or from a breath, because that can go on any class now, then of course you want to use the flame glyph because that's where your bonuses are. But if someone's using Morag Tongue or they don't have the flame bonus, then you want to use poison because that will be stronger, not just because the set is there, but if the set isn't there and there's no flame bonus, the poison glyph does apply status if you're lucky, and it does allow for execute damage from that particular status. So they're relatively similar depending on the situation. Maybe just have one of each. Precise, obviously, and we are taking advantage of the full set in 4 pieces, but count as 5. The staff counts as 2 because it's a 2-hander. So that's 2 pieces, chest is 3 pieces, necklace and ring are 5 pieces. Extra health recovery, extra weapon and spell damage. If you stack heavy attacks over and over and over and over and over, as long as you do another one within the last 5 seconds of a previous one, you'll stack heavy attack bonuses up to 4 times. If you keep heavy attacking, you'll maintain it. It is arguably the highest bonus to any heavy attack that you can get from a 5-piece set, so this is very, very powerful as long as you maintain it. Yes, you can slightly wind it up with not a full heavy attack, but if you're consistently heavy in any way, then this will stay with you the whole time. The other set we're using used to be deadly because it was benefiting the Wall of Elements and the heavy attack itself, but now we've introduced new skills, i.e. a new ultimate and a new hard-hitting single target skill that do not benefit from channels or damage over time. So what we've done is we've changed it so all of our damage is increased by 15% rather than just a select type. Now that that is the case, we can get this set from Infinite Archive, which is base game, and you only need to be a sorcerer to loot it. Any class can technically unlock it depending on your sticker book progress, but if you are a sorcerer, you will get Sorcerer Gear. Or you can buy it from the merchant and get boxes that are curated. Anyway, armor, weapon and spell damage, health. If no pet is active, and it's not a permanent pet, even if it is, you will get 15% damage done and healing done. This is very, very powerful. This setup benefits it a lot. Now, again, Sergeant, Beacon of Oblivion, and the shoulder piece is Slime Craw. They altered it so that 0.5% of the crit chance is now on the 2-piece bonus, so now that every single crit monster piece is actually equivalent of the same values. Before, Slime Craw was the best, if you like, for the crit bonuses. Now it's not. Unless, of course, you want the 2-piece bonus, in which case you're going to have to take Minor Berserk and not have it anywhere else in your build, which is tricky. Anyway, this needs to be all over the body, in medium, stamina, and divines. The shoulder needs to be any crit chance shoulder with light and stamina. And all of these need to be bloodthirsty with weapon and spell damage and stam recovery. That is Kuta, Rapora, Tadri. And finally, of course, the Oakensoul ring. This gives you an abundance of buffs, bonuses, and stuff to support your build in every way, including Empower, making your heavy attacks far stronger, and you get more resources back if the target is off balance. You've got loads and loads of buffs here. It doesn't exclude you from having buffs from your group, but it does bring a lot already that you don't have to try and squeeze into your build with sets or 5 extra skills. You've got Major Resolve on tap, which means you've always got the extra bonus for your resistances. You've got Minor Force on tap, which means you don't need a Beast Trap or anything because you've got the extra crit. You've got loads and loads of bonuses here that benefit you, and your potions are much, much easier to manage because you don't need sorcery or brutality. You don't need prophecy or savagery. It's all there. So just use tripods. So what have we done? What have we decided as far as the skills are concerned? Well, we've taken the subclass route and we've removed our Dark Magic skill line. We've removed it. We've got Daedric Summoning, Stormcalling, removed Dark Magic, and we've replaced it with the Nightblade skill line, Assassination. Why? Well, the first skill we've got is Merciless Resolve. Put this on your bar and leave it there. If you light attack, you'll get a stack. If you heavy attack, you'll get 2 stacks. If you get up to 10, you've got max stacks. And if you just keep doing lights or heavies, they'll stay there. That will give you 30 weapon and spell damage, 10 times over once you get to maximum, and you can keep them. Or you can fire them and consume them and do a huge amount of damage in single target and heal if you're close enough. The range for firing is 28 meters. The range for getting the heal is if you are close. You have to be in melee range, so you need to be 7 meters away. Before, this used to be 5 stacks and 1 shot. Now it is 10 stacks and 2 shots. Now here comes the choice. If you intend to use this for DPS purposes, then of course pick this version because it hits harder. If you intend to keep up your weapon and spell damage for extra DPS and just hold those shots for emergency heals, pick the other one. The other one holds a higher weapon and spell damage count, so that one will give you more passive damage over time if you're not firing this skill. But basically, build them up. When it glows, fire it. Next is Unstable Wall of Elements. Just like the previous setup, put this on the ground. Enemies must be inside of this. Do not let this run out. Lots of people fail this and they just hold heavy attack all day. You are supposed to be holding heavy attack all day, but please put the wall down underneath the enemy. We're using lightning, so enemies inside this that get shocked, if they are receiving a concussion status effect, will be knocked off balance. And if you knock an enemy off balance, or somebody else does, during that heavy attack, you will do 70% more damage. That also stacks with the 70% more damage you have from Empower, which we do have, which is on the Oakensoul ring. And of course, this does actually benefit your resource management because you get double resources back. You need to be heavy attacking off-balance targets as much as possible. Don't let this wall run out. Simply put it on the ground and heavy stuff from underneath it. Now, next up is one of those skills that people are really scared about. Daedric Summoning. Hardened Ward got altered. It doesn't heal you anymore, but it's still a very, very strong shield. This particular shield is the other morph of it. Conjured Ward into Regenerative Ward. They've changed it. Well, some of it has maintained, some of it has been buffed a bit. If you activate it, you and your group get minor intellect and minor endurance. So that's quite easy. You activate this, you've all got a recovery bonus. Happy days. You just buff the group. But while this is a slightly smaller damage shield than Hardened Ward, this is the one that now heals. It is scaled off of your highest of max health or Magicka. For us, it's health, which is really high actually because we've got 2 health bonuses from our sets and we're an orc. Shh, spoiler for later. But while it's a smaller heal than it was before, it's still a heal nonetheless. It's still a very strong damage shield, big heals, and our set that we're using, one in combat, if we get extra damage or heals, that will benefit us as well because it does actually boost that heal. So Crit Surge is going to give us loads of heals, and so is the damage shield. It's there for emergencies. It's still an option nonetheless. Now, Crit Surge, I just briefly went over that, is in Stormcalling. This is our Brutality and Sorcery buff. We don't need it for that because we've already got it covered. But if you activate this and maintain it, you will heal if you do crit damage at least once a second. So, that's your survival skill. Don't turn it off. As long as this is doing damage, and so are you are guaranteed at some point to crit, and that will heal you alongside your protection and heal from this. Bear in mind, this is a flex slot. If you're comfortable with your Crit Surge, and you're comfortable with your survival emergency heal button here, which can heal you for like 70k plus, even though we don't have that much health, you can swap this. For an old school skill from the previous version of the build, you can take advantage of Bound Armaments. Activating this will fire daggers, very similar to that of Grim Focus. You build up stacks, you fire daggers. Now, this used to be 4, and this used to be 5. This is now 10, and this is now 8. So you can stack up, yes, 2 in the chamber. And what you can do is, while holding heavy attack, you can fire 1, heavy, 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 fire the other. Heavy, heavy, fire the other. And backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards if you want to make it more complicated. Or you can simply leave it on the bar. Because this skill actually gives us a huge stamina increase bonus, and we're scaling off of stamina. So if you just leave it there, you've by default got extra damage. So the choice is yours. You can have it as an emergency damage shield if you really want it, or you can swap it to this and have it as a passive bonus or an active, depending on how skilled you think you are. The choice is yours. However, the variations of the two, if you are actively using Grim Focus or Merciless Resolve and Bound Armaments, you are looking at around 92k DPS on this particular rigged scenario that we have in our house called the Target Dummy. However, if you don't, you're looking at about 10k less. However, for those of you that were just holding heavy attack in the previous update, your DPS just went up a significant amount on this particular setup, so you are going to splat content, no problem whatsoever. You don't need anywhere near that damage in any content. So It's very, very easy clears for you. Anyway, choice is yours. Now, finally, before we get to the ultimate, we've got the banner. We have had the banner before, and I'm going to go over this a little bit differently to before, because I'm going to explain how something here was a bit of an oversight. My bad. So, we are using Shock and Banner on purpose, and we're going to continue to do so because there is a very good reason for this. But there was a message on YouTube previously saying, why not the magical one? And I argued that magic damage and magical damage are very different. Magical damage covers the 4 elements. Magic damage is one of the elements. Misread, they were correct. You could use that on the build if you really wanted to because it would support all the skills. However, the Shock and Banner only supported direct damage skills. In lots and lots of testing, both of them actually evened out. They met bang in the middle. Now here's the problem. If you're using the poison glyph, that magic bonus doesn't support it. If anyone in your group is inside the banner that is not using magical skills, the banner doesn't support them. But a lot of people use direct. So both banners on this build did exactly the same, but the shock one, looks cooler, and 2, supports your group better because if anyone brings any direct damage, even if it's martial, it will boost it. So the comment was correct, but this is staying because it is equal for us, but more beneficial for others. So technically speaking, this is still overall stronger if you want to consider it support, but if you have the other one, you don't have the correct glyph or script, you can use magic damage for the time being. But I would swap to Shocking as soon as you can because it is better for your group. Even if they're doing bashes, it will support it. Now, the way to make this. They have changes, by the way. It will cost you every 5 seconds. Didn't used to do that before. It used to be free. We've got resources. It's fine. So, if you go down to Banner, Shock Damage, Class Mastery, because every time this pops, once every 5 seconds, it will cost us 450 Magicka and Stamina every 2 seconds. But we'll also use like a Shock Pulse, which will hit really bloody hard and is quite high on concussion bonuses as well. It's likely to fire its status. And we've got Minor Resolve. We don't have Resolve from Bound Aegis anymore because we haven't been using it for a couple of patches. So this gives us that back. Now, what you can do, like I said a moment ago, you can go to magic damage instead, but that will cover magical elements. It will skip the other half of the elements in the game that exist. This will focus on one of the 2 damage types instead. Normally damage over time or direct. This covers all direct. So it's a trade-off, whichever script you've got used, but overall, this one was better. For other people. For you, it makes no difference. Now, ulti. You're going to like this one. Soul Harvest. That's right. We're a sorcerer, so our ulti is cheaper. This is 60 ultimate for us. We've chosen Soul Harvest from Deathstroke, and what this does, basically, is if you activate it, the target you're activating this on will receive 20% more damage from you, as well as an initial hit. Now, it also applies Major Defile, which is quite nice, but while slotted on any bar, any kill you get will give you 10 ultimate. This is almost a spammable for us. Your DPS just went up massively with this particular build, not only because you've got Merciless Resolve if you stack weapon and spell damage or fire it, not only because you can stack it with Bound Armaments if you really want to, and the banner, but because if we get kills, we can constantly reapply this. It's like you're running around with the DK banner. Obviously consider that you've got to hit the single target, but there's more. We are using Area of Effect stuff from this heavy attack. As you can see here, heavy pop, 27k and then 19 across the board. The heavy attack passive from the Lightning Staff gives you the equivalent of 100% of the damage that you just did on the single target in Area of Effect. Now let's say for argument's sake that we are focusing our ulti on this target. Now let me do the heavy attack again. Heavy, pop, 26, they're all getting hit for 19. Now if I activate this instead, that's not a set in stone number, but you can see there that the damage that is done to the target that we are hitting is the one that defines what they get hit for. So while this particular ultimate is designed for single target, as long as you heavy attack the one you applied it to, the rest will get hit for more. So it actually supports splash. Now we're going to go into the passives and make sense of that. We'll go to the Destro stuff after the class stuff, but stay with me, it's coming up. Passives. Restore 371 Magicka or Stamina when one of your non-ultimate Daedric summoning abilities ends. Resources return dictated by the ability's cost. So if you activate this or activate that, you'll get resources back when it is over. Reduces the cost of your ultimates by 15%. That ulti is supposed to cost 70, it's 60 for us. Reduces your damage taken by 5% when you have a Daedric Summoning ability active. Obviously, if you've got this active or this active, which is a long-durated buff now, or decent duration buff, we actually take less damage. So you activate your damage shield, and during the time that you've got the extra buff from it, you can be hit, well, for less. Increases Magicka and stamina, just because it does, and increases your max health if you have a permanent pet. We don't, so we've just got a bonus to the 2 flat stats. Increases your health, mag, and stam recovery. Increases your physical and shock damage, which we're doing a lot of. Increases your damage done against enemies by 1% based on the amount of health they have. Now, this is every 10%. You start off doing 10% more damage, and 90, 80, 70, 60, and going down and down and down, you lose 1%. So technically, at the lowest health point, you are still doing more than everybody else, but your burst is there. Increases weapon and spell damage by 108 for each sorcerer ability slotted. We have 216. Don't worry, we still get loads and loads of bonuses from this because that gives us loads of weapon and spell damage as well. So while we sacrifice one sorcerer skill, we've replaced it with more weapon and spell damage as long as you hold it. It's really difficult to say. Assassination, here it comes. We lost a lot of crit taken deadly off. That's something people misunderstand. They take off one set with a 5-piece bonus. They put on another one with a 5-piece bonus and think, they should be the same, but they're not. No, because you've got other mid stats that you didn't consider. We already have. This here increases your critical chance rating against enemies by flanking them by 1, 4, 4, 8, and has also been gracious enough to tell us what that is in percentage. 6.6% extra crit damage, crit chance even, for being behind the target or flanking them. That's a huge bonus. That 55% is looking a little bit shinier now. When an enemy dies within 2 seconds of being damaged by you, you restore Magicka and stamina. That's right. You gain more resources now. Lazy Sorc was already massively over the top with resource management. Now it's even easier. Yes, that counts for a lot. Increases your critical chance rating by 5, 4, 8 for each assassin ability slotted, which, by the way, is 2.5% per ability. That's right. We've got an extra 5% for having these two on the bar. So we lost about 3 or 4% with the set bonuses, but now we've gained more from those passives. And of course, crit damage. We don't have that as a sorcerer, generally speaking, but we now actually have crit damage if we have an assassination ability slotted. So we have gained 10%. So hitting that hard cap for crit damage is very, very easy. We don't need it in our champion points, which means we can take advantage of something else. Dealing critical damage also grants minor savagery to your group, so they'll thank you for that. Now, we are using the destruction staff. Obviously, I said I was going to go over these. If you heavy attack with a lightning staff, you do 100% of the damage done to that target in splash damage. Obviously, you have to consider their resistances and your crit chance, because if you crit the target you're hitting, then they will get hit harder. You can't crit the splash, by the way. So the bigger the hit, the better. With our heavy attack bonuses from Empower, from the set we're using, from Off Balance, all those bonuses combined can make a massive, massive slap on the main target, and the rest get hit really, really hard. It's huge, especially if you're utilizing Soul Harvest, which most people have actually overlooked. They didn't realize that, this is a single target, but if you hit that one, they will all receive more. They do. It's insane. Now, Destruction Staff passives are quite simple. Like I said, if you heavy attack with a Lightning Staff, you do 100% of the damage in Splash. Bear in mind, their resistances are considered, and the Splash can't crit. But if you do lots and lots of damage on the single target with Off Balance and Empower and the heavy attack bonuses from your sets, plus the extra damage from your other set, plus the ultimate, which does 20% more, if you hit them really, really hard, the splash is higher. So it's very, very important that you stack those bonuses and hit the big one as hard as you can, so the splash is higher on those. Your Destruction Staff abilities ignore resistances, 2, 9, 7, 4 of them. Increases your chance on status by 100% of all types as long as you're holding a staff. Bear in mind, it's 100% of whatever your base is. So if it's 2%, it's now 4. If it's 10, it's now 20. If it's 100, well, that's a waste of time. It's 100% of what you've got. So it's double whatever your base for whatever the skill is. This tells us obviously a lot about the build. It's a lightning staff. We're doing a channeled heavy attack. So this is boosted by its flat bonus by 12%, but we're also using a lot of direct damage. The burst, when the Wall of Elements ends or when you recast it, so the last one blows up, is direct. This is direct damage. The heavy attack is channeled and then direct damage pop at the end. And the ultimate is also direct damage. We've got a lot of direct damage on the build, which the banner supports. The only damage over time is actually from the Wall of Elements. Technically, you could argue that the heavy attack is damage over time, but it's also channeled, so it's not going to double dip. It just picks whichever one it favors. They both support it anyway. So the only thing that will be lacking from all this direct damage bonus stuff is the damage over time from this, and 9 times out of 10 you can just heavy pop anyway, so the direct is actually more beneficial. Now again, we've been over the banner. It's up to you what you do with it, but the shock banner is more beneficial for your group, although both variants are the same for you. If you get a kill with the Destro staff, you get more resources. Simple as that. Alongside the Nightblade passive that we've taken advantage of and our champion points, we are not going to run out of resources as long as we're getting kills. We are using 1 piece of light armor. Get these as soon as you can. They do benefit you as far as crit bonuses, penetration bonuses, all that kind of stuff is concerned. Again, we've only got 1 piece, but it is helpful nonetheless. Same goes for heavy as well. Resistances, recovery, and of course resources back for doing heavies. They all count, but we've got 5 medium pieces, so we do want to take advantage of these as soon as possible to give us the extra mobility, the extra weapon and spell damage, the extra crit damage. All that stuff stacks up very, very nicely to give us our exact stats that we've got. People try to match stat sheets all the time. They miss out on the passives. This is very important to get it in this order. 1 light, 5 medium, 1 heavy. Now, we don't take any major skill, no fighter skills. You don't have to worry about law books and all that shit. And we are taking advantage of Undaunted. If you take a synergy, you get resources back. That can't be any clearer. And of course, we're taking advantage of 3 different armor types. So we get a 2% bonus to max health, magicka, and stamina for each one. We've got 6%. We are an orc. Obviously, you can see his teeth. Max stamina, max health, heal for doing damage once every 4 seconds, alongside crit surge, alongside our damage shield, and alongside our mercy resolve. Extra weapon and spell damage, and we're fast. Now, here comes the question. Can you use any race you like? Yep, of course you can. But the orc is banging. You're not restricted. You can use anything. It will still function. It's just that they've got different passives that may benefit the build in a different way. That's all. Know your passives here and adjust accordingly if you need to. Any class, any race, any role. This is my preference. This works very well against the stats that we've got. But if you want to be something else, you can still play it. Alchemy. Really, really simple passive here. Medicinal use. You'll be using tripods. You'll get 3 major bonuses. Intellect and endurance and also fortitude. Those 3 major bonuses give you 30% to health, magicka, and stamina recovery. Normally they would run out. With this particular bonus, they last the full duration of your potions. Never let your potions run out. They should be grey at all times, so you have to constantly benefit from those buffs. Now, let's go over champion points, and I'm going to explain how to play it. Really simple. I haven't put all of these in because there's no point. Get them all in your own time. There's loads of passive ones, yes. But we're looking at 4 slottables. Unlock this one as soon as possible to get to this. You want Wrathful Strikes maxed out, slot that. Then you want to come over here. You do need to fill all this up as soon as you can, but you're aiming for Weapons Expert for extra increase to light and heavy attack damage. Then you want to come over here, single target damage, we're doing a lot of it, and also Master at Arms for direct damage. We're doing single target direct damage for most. Anything else is a channel, and that is already boosted by everything else we're doing, and it pops with direct at the end, and it counts as single target anyway. So this will cover the pops, this will cover the channel, and this will cover everything. And then, of course, again, like I said, this will cover the heavy, which supports it all. Red stuff. Obviously, get these in your own time. You've got loads of white passive ones here that you should get for combat use. Obviously, for your survival and your maintenance of your stamina, if you're dodge and breaking and all that good stuff. But the basic ones. More health. More armor. Unlock this halfway to get to this. Put 10 points in here to get to this. That is your second health bonus. Max that out. Now all you need is Bloody Renewal and Siphoning Spells. Already, if you get a kill as a Nightblade Assassination user, so yeah, we're a Sorcerer and a Nightblade combined, you get 1k of both back. If you attack something that dies within the last 2 seconds, this stacks with it. So technically, if you're the one getting all the kills, or at least you've damaged it recently, then of course you can get up to 2.5k back combined. You're not going to run out of juice. Green Tree is quality of life 100% of the time, but you are going to want this, so you're faster between fights, and the rest of it is just passive. I would take advantage of Liquid Efficiency and Rationer as soon as you can, because that obviously helps your maintenance of your food and your potions, and of course this for your charges. Your charges will run out very, very fast. This will make them, well, last a lot longer. The rest of it is up to you. These are nothing to do with combat, really. So how do we use it? Is it really complicated? No, not really. Your Wall of Elements, must be down underneath the targets at all times. I was lucky it went off balance instantly. As you can see, damage over time, and if it's off balance, I will do more damage with that heavy. And do splash damage. Now, outside of that basic rotation, because that is pretty much all you need to do, keep your banner turned on at all times. Make sure you maintain your potions, because you're going to need that recovery. Because the recovery is going to support the new cost of this skill. This skill costs you 450 Magicka and 413 stamina every 2 seconds, and your recovery is every 2 seconds. So they trade off against each other. So make sure you maintain your potions at all times. Anyway, while your banner is active and your crit surge is active, wall under the target, hold heavy attack. Just hold it. Now, if you queue up a skill by not letting go of that heavy attack and just pressing the wall of elements while you're channeling, it will fire for you when ready. Watch my bar. All I have to do is press the skill during the heavy while holding onto the heavy, and it will fire for me. You can see. I'm channeling, pressed the button already. There it goes. Pressed it already. There it goes. Easy. Now we can make it a bit more difficult if you really want to. Whenever your ultimate is ready, I highly 100% recommend that you utilize it. It is very, very powerful, and it will do a substantial amount of damage overall as far as your DPS is concerned, because now you're doing 20% more to that target. So while your wall of elements is active, weave that in between your heavy attacks. Now, weaving is easy with heavies, just don't let go of heavy. And then maintain heavy pop the wall, heavy pop the wall, heavy pop the wall. Now, if you want to make it more complicated, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can see that your bars there, or the main bar with all the buffs and bonuses, has a Grim Focus or Merciless Resolved stack of 10. If I want to, I can weave this in and fire it. Now it's gone down to 5. If I build up heavy attacks again, it will go back up to 10. And I can fire it again. Now I can fire it at 10 or 5. Before then, if I really want to, but under 5 you can't. I can fire it at 7. I can fire it at 6. But it will take 5 stacks away. You go down to 0, you've got to build them all back up again. So it's up to you when you fire it, or you could just save it for a very, 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 very strong heal. I.e., here's an example. Look at the right-hand side of my screen. Here's a heal. 25k heal without having any buffs present. Anyway, simple as that. That's not a DPS demonstration. That is just how to use your skills. Wall down, hold heavy attack. If the spectral bow is ready, fire it. If it's not, don't. If you want to keep it, by all means do keep it. But always use your ultimate as soon as you can. But you don't have to let go of heavy attacks. As long as you're targeting correctly, it will do its job. Build up some stacks between spamming a wall every single heavy. Fire it occasionally if you want to. Now, the tricky one. If you want to be a little bit more flashy. Bound armaments. Now, again, like I said earlier, wall down, hold heavy attack. You don't have to press these skills if you don't want to. You can just let them build themselves up. One will give you a stamina bonus that you don't have to do anything about, and the other one will give you weapon and spell damage that you don't have to do anything about. You could just hold heavy attack and maintain a wall with these 2 skills on the bar. If you get in trouble, fire the bow for a quick heal. That is fine. But if you want to be really, really, really sneaky about this, here's the trick. When you've got your stacks, weave your ulti in when you can. Heavy attack, bow, heavy attack wall, heavy attack bound armaments, heavy attack bow, heavy attack wall. You see where we're going with this? Heavy attack bound armaments. We've always got enough bound armaments, and we've always got enough of the bow procs to be able to constantly fire it if we go left to right, left to right. Now watch very carefully. Bound armaments is full, fire. Heavy. Merciless Resolve is full, fire. That's spectral bow, by the way. Wall is reapplied, continue, and I can't run out of resources. 1, 2, 3, squeeze the ulti in. Really, really, really easy. And it will look like this. So, as long as you maintain that heavy, you'll keep up your sergeant stacks. Wall down at all times. Heavy at all times. If you want to make it complicated, do this. Wall down. Fire your bow. Heavy, fire the wall. Heavy, fire your daggers. Heavy, fire the bow. Fire the wall. Fire your daggers. Fire the bow. Ulti's ready. Fire the wall. you'll see that all the stacks are actually maintaining. When you do that, you go left to right. Bow, wall, daggers. Bow, wall, daggers. Heavy attack in between every single one. You will always benefit from max stacks of all of those at the same time as leaving one in the chamber. Get them to 10 and 8 and just hold heavy attack and rotate through those skills. If your ulti's ready, fire it. If it's not, continue. And that's it. Again, that's the more complex version. The easier one is to just do this. And just hold on to that button. Use the wall every time you can press it between your skill. You don't have to let go. Just press it. Even that will do enough damage. Really, really simple. Take them as passives instead of actives. Anyway, hope that wasn't too confusing. Hope that helps. We haven't got a fashion section because, let's face it, who cares? He's dressed as Sheogorath. Go get the costume and put it on. He looks mega anyway with his wicked ponytail. People, if you're not following already, hit that button. It is free. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Would you do something else? Yeah, you're going to tell me anyway. Tell me what you'd do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.